Okay, so there's just one thing that I wanted to talk about today, and that is why your diet may be failing, even though you are eating a whole, unprocessed food diet. So you may have heard me speak. Lots of people, lots of different people will advocate for if you want to lose weight healthily, sustainably, you should eat whole, unprocessed foods, healthy eating, and this is something that a lot of people would have tried. So you set a timeline for a diet. You know, I'm going to start a diet next week, and you start eating whole unprocessed foods. You try and cut out junk food, you cut out sugars, you cut out maybe refined and processed food, ultra processed foods, carbohydrates, things like that. And you try and start eating, more meat, fish, eggs, more vegetables, more fruits, just a generally healthy diet. And after 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks doing this, maybe 6 to 8 weeks doing this, you step on the scales or you look at yourself and you think, there has been no difference. And that is a really, really big driver for a lot of people to just stop doing it, because what is the point of eating for what most people would consider quite a hard challenge? Because if in today's environment, eating that kind of food is quite challenging. We live in a society where it is really easy to eat unprocessed, unhealthy food, convenient food, and cooking and preparing and making whole meals out of whole unprocessed foods is quite challenging. And so you do that after 6, 7 weeks. You feel like you haven't enjoyed it as much as you thought you would, and you haven't lost any weight. And then it's so easy to say, forget this, I'm going back to how I ate before, and then or then just switching to something more extreme, trying some wacky other diet, which also doesn't work. And I'll explain why doing extreme diets and things in other videos doesn't work. But there is a reason why for a lot of people, whole unprocessed food diets, or trying to eat generally healthily, even if you're not counting calories, you're not doing anything specific, but you're just generally trying to eat healthy, sticking to like key concepts. There's a reason why it doesn't work for a lot of people, and that's because despite having a diet that is whole and unprocessed, you can still very easily overeat on foods that are high calorie density foods. So as a really simple example, you can start eating a whole unprocessed diet, and you can start your morning, let's say, with some eggs, some vegetables, or maybe some oatmeal. And for lunch, a similar thing, you're having some protein, some salad, some lean meats and veggies, sorry, or, some fish or a salad bowl, whatever it may be. And for dinner, you have the same thing, some potatoes, some vegetables, again, a protein. And you think, this is what everyone tells me, this is how you should eat. But you don't lose weight. And it's because in between, it is really, really easy to snack on whole foods, like healthy, unprocessed foods, but that are still quite calorie dense. And unfortunately, when you're eating relatively healthily, because we're used to portion sizes of those that we eat when we eat unhealthily. So when we eat bagels and lots of refined carbohydrates and the breads, and snacks and chocolates and crisps, we're used to that kind of portion sizes. And so once we switch to whole unprocessed food, we eat that same portion sizes. And so then we're actually quite hungry. And so when we snack on those high calorie density foods, like for example, nuts, peanut butters, things like that, even some fruits we can just snack on. Dried fruits, dried mangoes, mixed nuts, even like sort of having a banana and then an apple, and then there's nothing wrong with those things. But once you add it up, it is very, very easy to actually overeat. And because you're eating, I guess, like too little of the foods that we should be eating. So your salad bowl is quite light on calories, your dinner is quite light on calories, and then you're hungry, but you don't want to snack on unhealthy foods. It's then very easy to, I think as Tim Ferriss calls it, domino foods, to overeat on those snacky foods, to think, okay, I'm going to eat a whole unprocessed diet. So, I'm going to have some healthy sourdough bread. I'm going to drizzle olive oil on it, but man, that was a tasty slice. So let me have another one and drizzle even more olive oil on it. And actually, I'm still quite hungry. Let me have a handful of nuts. Well, actually, that snack that you just ate can easily be pushed into 500, 600, 700 calories. And my point here isn't to start counting every single calorie. It's that is why it then becomes very easy to overeat those things, and why you actually end up in a caloric surplus and you gain weight, or you don't lose weight. And then after 6 to 8 weeks of eating like that, where you've given up all your favorite foods, your ice creams, your pizzas, your chocolates, your junk food, and you haven't lost any weight, it's so demoralizing that it's so easy to give up. And so when I advocate for people losing weight. When I talk to people, and I do this all the, in part of my job is to talk to people losing weight. It's why I push, and you'll notice in my other videos, I push all the time about foods with the highest satiety, with the highest level of fullness, with the lowest calorie density, because unless you are eating foods that keep you full, and a lot of them, you are going to snack on foods that are not necessarily unhealthy for you, but that will not contribute to your weight loss because they're high in calories and they're easy to snack on. So if you are eating healthily, but you're having handfuls of nuts and handful of dried fruits throughout the day, unfortunately, over a long period of time, you're not going to lose weight. And the solution is not that you should never eat those things, because they have their place. The solution is that primarily the bulk of your food needs to be made up of higher volume of those lower calorie density foods. So your breakfast needs to be larger, your lunch needs to be larger. You need to add more into your lunch. You need to add pulses, grains, legumes. You need to add your chickpeas and your lentils. You need to add foods that are high in satiety. You need to put a larger amount of protein or a larger amount of veggies in your meals, so that you're not starving, so that after you eat that meal or an hour or so later, it's easy to have actually only a few, like a tiny small handful of nuts, and then wait for your next meal and have another large meal. And so you're eating foods that are consistently keeping you full, and then you can snack on those healthy things, and now you have a healthy unprocessed diet, and you can lose weight, and you lose weight on it. I have said before that it's really hard to overeat on an unprocessed diet, and I guess in a way that's wrong, because you can overeat on an unprocessed diet if you just don't eat enough of the right things. But if 80% of your diet is made up of a good amount of low calorie density foods, good amount of protein, good amount of veg, good amount of whole grain, lean, higher satiety, lower calorie carbohydrates, you will lose weight. But that has to be the primary driver. That has to be the bulk of what you eat. You can't eat 2 boiled eggs for breakfast and then end up snacking on a load of peanut butter and mixed nuts and sourdough bread with olive oil in between breakfast and lunch, and then have a salad bowl for lunch and say, I'm not losing weight. Because if half of your calories are coming from foods that are very low in fullness, low in satiety, but high in calories, and that's just, it's not going to work. And then it is really easy to just give up and think, well, what's the point of doing this? I might as well just go back to how I was eating before, because either way, I'm not losing weight. It is also what leads people to say, I can't lose weight no matter what. I've tried healthy eating, or it's just my genes, or it's just me. I can't lose weight. I've tried it before. I've eaten healthily. I eat really healthily. I get it all the time. I speak to so many people whose BMI is well above 30. Ignore the fact that BMI may not be the best way of measuring weight for now. BMI is over 30, or just, high percentage body fats. And the first thing they say to me is, I eat really healthily, but I can't lose weight. And they are not, it's really rare to have a metabolic condition that actually prevents you from losing weight if you eat less calories than you burn. It's just a case of they haven't quite refined that diet to where they're eating the bulk of their foods, the largest amount of their foods in whole, unprocessed, low calorie density foods in their main meals, and limiting their snacks. They eat healthily because they are eating healthily. That they're not lying about it, but they just don't realize how much of it is snacking on the still healthy but the higher calorie density foods. And it's really easy to eat those. It's really easy to incorporate a banana, a handful of nuts, and a piece of peanut butter on a slice of healthy bread as a snack. That still is quite a significant amount of calories for the amount of fullness you're going to get out of that. That's not going to make you that full. Try it. Go and eat a banana now. Get a bit hungry. Go and eat a banana. Have a handful of nuts and get a big teaspoon of peanut butter or a tablespoon of peanut butter and just that off. Tell me if you're full after that. I mean, it wouldn't even really have made a dent for people with large appetites or people who struggle with their weight. That really wouldn't have made a dent in your appetite, but you've easily ingested probably upwards of 400, 500, 600 calories in that. And so it's not that I'm saying you need to count calories or you need to cut those foods out completely. It's just satiety is king when you lose weight, and eating foods that are high in satiety, so high in fullness and reduce appetite with a large amount of volume, so a large amount of it, but low in calorie density, is the key. So that was it for this video. That's all I wanted to touch on today. It's the reason why so many people tell me that their diets fail, or they can't lose weight, or they can eat healthy but they still gain weight, and they think it's to do with their metabolism, their hormones, their genetics, their bone structure. It's not, and that's the reason why. So that's it for today. Hope that helped. Leave some comments if you are interested in getting me to talk about some other stuff, and I will try and cover it. Well, that is it for today, and I will see you all very soon.